All right, folks, welcome back to another DevRev. I'm going to answer a question I got on LinkedIn. It was not really actually asked in the sense that he wanted an answer. It was more of just I don't get how you get it. So I was chatting back and forth with Marcus, and Marcus is somebody that I've interacted with a little bit before. He created a challenge on Fitbit, and so I would sign up for the weekly challenge, and then of course not get all the steps in order to win. I'm getting a little bit better at that, folks. I actually hired a running coach. Side note. Anyway, so we were just chatting about stuff, and he asked me how I choose panelists, and I told him that, and then he basically asked me, makes sense. Here's the message he sent, and this is what I'm going to answer because, and I'm sorry, Marcus, because I'm going to rant hard. But he says, makes sense. So, okay. So yeah, how do you pick panelists? I usually invite past guests who did a good job. And he says, makes sense. I don't seem to have time to do anything interesting enough to get invited as a guest. Bull crap. Okay. That is an excuse. And I'm going to bust you for it. I'm sorry. I like you, Marcus, but that's an excuse. And then he says, how do you do it with so many kids? I don't know. I only have 2. He has 2 kids. I have 5 kids. Okay. My oldest is almost 13. My youngest is 3. She just turned 3. I had to think about that for a minute. But yeah, it really comes down to just do it. Just get it done. I mean, I get you have a full-time job. You have 2 kids. You want to spend time with your family. But ultimately, if it's important to you, you'll do it. If it's important to you, you'll find the time to do it. This week, I took on a challenge. If you watch Entreprogrammers, entreprogrammers.com, actually go to the YouTube channel because we're a little bit behind on the RSS feed. But we recorded on this morning, Friday, but we also recorded last week. And last week we set up a challenge. It was John Sonmez who came up with the challenge. And John basically said, look, let's do this challenge where we do 8 Pomodoros. If you're not familiar with the Pomodoro technique, essentially what it breaks down to, you do 25 minutes of focused work, take a 5-minute break, and then you go back and do another, the next Pomodoro, which is another 25 minutes of focused work. So 8 Pomodoros before noon, okay? So 8 Pomodoros before noon. Now, you're thinking, okay, so that comes out to about a half hour per Pomodoro, right? So that's 4 hours of work before noon. So if you start at 8 a.m., you can get done by noon, which works, except if you have stuff going on during that time frame, then you have to get up earlier, right? So let's say that I have podcast recordings starting at 10 that don't get over until 1. Well, then, okay, 6 o'clock to 10 o'clock, right? Yeah, well, I have 5 kids. I mean, so there are all these reasons not to do it, right? I have 5 kids, and a lot of them go to school every day, right? All of them do, except for the 3-year-old. My 13-year-old's homeschooled, so he doesn't go, but have to take kids to school, have to make sure they get dressed, have to make sure that they have all their homework, make sure that they have their lunches packed, right? So there's all this stuff going on. So 6 o'clock to about 7:15, again, I've got stuff going on. So when do I get up? 5? 4? I got up at 4 o'clock every freaking day this week, okay? I got up at 4 o'clock. I went to work. I sat down, I did a Pomodoro, then I did another one, then I did another one, then I did another one, then I got up with my kids, we read scriptures, we got ready to go, they went out the door, my wife took them to school so that I could do the other Pomodoro, so I worked it out with her. I did more Pomodoros until 10 o'clock on Tuesday, 9 o'clock on Wednesday, and I got a couple in after because React Roundup only goes until 10:30, so I did have a buffer there, right? Monday morning, I was doing phone screenings for show notes writers because I'm looking to hire some people to help with the show notes because it's just not getting done quite the way I want in the time frame I want. And so I'm looking for some help there, right? So I did the phone screenings. Phone screenings, we decided meetings didn't count for the Pomodoros. So Monday morning, I'm looking at my calendar and I'm going, or Sunday night, I'm looking at my calendar, I'm going, I got to get up at 4 a.m. to get it done. And I did. Tuesday, I got up at 4 a.m. and I got it done by 10. Wednesday, I got up at 4 a.m. and I got it done by noon. Thursday, I got up at 9 a.m. I had sponsorship sales calls. I had other stuff going on yesterday, other phone screenings. I mean, it was a disaster. This morning, I had a sales call at 9. I had another call. The Entreprogrammers call at 10. And what's funny about that is that we're supposed to go an hour, and we typically don't. We typically go longer. We typically go an hour and a half to 2 hours. So I knew I had to get it done before 10 in order to get it done. And John, he's like trying to rush us off the call so he can finish up because he hadn't gotten it done. And again, so you're making things work. And if you're putting other things ahead of it, then you're going to put other things ahead of it. And there's nothing wrong with that. But if you want to get something done, if you want to accomplish anything, dang it, you got to get in and you got to plan it out and you got to get it done. You just have to do it. There's no other way around it. I hear people saying it's really freaking hard for me to find a job. And I tell them tactics and I give them ideas about how they can meet people and get to know people and get their ideas out there. I'll do a video about that next because I've got some other ideas that came out of this week and the way that I worked. But if you want that job, you've got to go find those people and you've got to bust your butt to get out there and get the work done and get your resume in front of them and get in front of them and meet them and get them to know you and get them to like you so they'll hire you, right? If you're on the internet and you're sending your resume out to a million places that are trying to hire and you don't do anything else, you're not doing the work and it's not going to pay off. So if you want this kind of payoff, if you want results, you've got to do the work. Sorry, it drives me absolutely crazy when I hear people complain that they don't have time for something or that they can't do something because of whatever. Because the reality is if it is really important to you, I wasn't going to pay those. We put money on the line. I wasn't going to pay those suckers a dime. Okay. So I just freaking got it done. Okay. And this week, yeah, I'm not going to do 8 Pomodoros before noon. I'm probably going to try and do 6 before noon. Right. And we didn't put any money on the line this week. But at this point, I'm looking at it and going, I have accountability now to myself because I know what I'm capable of. Because I went out there and I busted my butt and I found a whole bunch of sponsors that I'm talking to this week. I sold a whole bunch of sponsorships this last week. I got a whole bunch of emails written that are set up and queued up for people to get these next few weeks. And I really did it because it was important. And I'm realizing now that I can deliver, I can't let myself down. I can't let my family down, right? Because if I continue to execute the way I did this week, I will be in terrific shape. And when I have money problems, it is my fault. And so go own it. Go do it. Okay. And yeah, it feels like maybe I'm yelling at you a little bit. I'm not mad at you. I'm just saying if it's really important, you're going to find a way. You'll find the time. You'll arrange things with your wife. You'll wait till your kids are in bed. You'll get up early before they're out of bed. Whatever it takes, you'll figure it out. But if that, if it's not important, and if you're not making time for it, then it's not important, then you're not going to get those results. And that's just the way it is. Occasionally somebody will get extremely lucky and have something pay off. But at the same time, they're getting unlucky because it reinforces that I don't have to work for what I get. And in reality, everything else in life, you freaking have to work for what you get. And, I hear people talk about how they were raised poor. They're a minority, they're whatever. And the reality is if you go out and work in this day and age, especially here in the United States, situations may be different in other countries. I don't know what the situations are as far as, hiring and all that crap. But here in the U.S. and in most of the world, you'll get the results. You'll reap what you sow. You'll get the results for your work. So anyway, I didn't want to make this super long, so I'm gonna end. But honestly, if there's anything that I can say is, how do you get stuff done with blah, blah, blah? The answer is go do the work. Go execute. And you'll have it pay off. And anybody who's out there trying to make it on their own can tell you that is what it comes down to. Occasionally you pick the wrong market. Occasionally you do. But, keep trying and it'll eventually pay off. But you have got to do the work. And there are certain things that you do that tie directly to your success. And you've got to figure out what those are and do those. So anyway, if you want to be a panelist on the show, because that's what he was asking, you got to do something that we want to talk about. And you can do it, but you've got to make sure that it's a priority. So Anyway, that's pretty much it. I told him that too, right? He's like, how do I get stuff done? And my answer was, I prioritize it. So anyway, there you go. So you got to get out and do it. He did say that he's been getting up at 5 before everyone else wakes up, and that's a really good way. I mean, I got a ton done between 4 and 6 before my kids got up, and it was because nobody bugged me, right? My wife's been volunteering over at the school. I'm still ranting. My wife has been volunteering over at the school all morning, right? She left at 7:15. She came back for like a half hour and then left again. She's over at the school right now. My 3-year-old is here. Thankfully, my 13-year-old can usually take care of stuff, but our TV broke this morning, right? It just quit. And that's how I get stuff done when my wife's not here and my 3-year-old is. And so I went down there and I hooked up my iPad and I plugged some headphones into it. And that's what she's doing while I'm recording videos. So again, you'll find a way, and this afternoon I'll go down and I'll read to my kids and I'll spend time with them. But right now, this is it. And so I made it a priority. All right, I'm going to jump off. Seriously, I'm going to get off. But if you want results, you've got to go do it.